My name is SKY-BYTE, and today is my review of Transformers Age of the Primes Voyager class SKY-BYTE. I think it's my first review of full-blown mainline. Here's the box, usual chug box. Has no bio and some stuff, shows off some features, some art. There's all that. Getting it on the figure, I picked this guy up because I was a bit interested in him, and I just wanted to take a look at him and see how he is. So, starting off, my camera is not cooperating. I just wanted to take a look at him overall. I think proportionally, he looks pretty okay. He captures the vibe and the essence of the character just fine. The detail is pretty much there. I will say for this like spark crystal, I think someone took this apart and there's like a molded Predacon insignia in here, which means that this was probably meant to be translucent. I think it would have looked a lot better if it was translucent and it's not under any stress or any like material pressure for any like joints or hinges. So I think that really could have just been like a translucent piece. It would have looked fantastic, but it is what it is. For the most part, you know, he's not really compromised in many ways visually. I mean, the legs are pretty much fine. You have a little bit of, he's pretty filled out. You have a little bit of hollowness here for the transformation. That's fine. I mean, that's for the transformation right there. I mean, you have a little bit of, you know, whatever. Like, it's fine. It's not like a particularly hollow toy or anything. It's almost not hollow at all. It's almost completely filled out, which is great. You can kind of see into the backpack from here, but to be fair, like, that is part of the character design. It's just how SKY-BYTE is, so I think, like, complaining about that might be a little bit disingenuous. I want to zoom in real quick on the head sculpt. I'm sorry, again, my setup is made for, like, Legends class figures usually, so it's going to be a bit... it's going to be a little bit scuffed, so just taking a quick look at that head sculpt. It does look pretty good. I mean, it kind of strikes like a balance between the toy and the toon design. I think, like, in general, especially with the head crest, like, I think they were going for a half and half design, kind of. It comes off like a bit animated, but also a bit like, I don't know, like his mouth is grimacing, but it feels like the rest of his face isn't expressive. So it feels more like the toy head, if that makes sense. Like, toy heads back in the Beast Wars era usually had like grimaces or some type of like expression, but they weren't like actually molded to be very expressive. It was just usually the mouth. I don't know if that makes sense to anybody, but let me know if it makes sense. The paint is pretty good too. We got like some silver paint on these. We got some red paint here, etc. This is gray plastic. Most of this is base plastic, but the paint where it is applied very well, and it looks very good. I'm just going to get into his articulation now. So his head cannot look up much, if at all, which is kind of sad. I really do wish like they would do something about this. Like, they would figure out how to like give these figures like more upwards articulation, because almost every chug figure I've handled is like limited in this sense. Like, they just never do this. Like, I really wish they would just learn how to cut the ball joints or cut like the ball joint sockets differently so they had like actual range. He can look down, also not at all. He gets like a 360, and he has no side to side. It's like a ball joint that's not really a ball joint. It's kind of sad. These move out of the way, right? They can go up. And then you have your shoulders left here. The shoulders do not reach 90. You can like untab these to go further, but like this is like on this copy it's kind of secure, but on like this arm, I hate that. I hate that. It's completely loose. It's not an articulation joint, it's a transformation joint. This sucks. That the tabs on this figure are kind of strange. I don't really like them. The way they work is not super fun. So the shoulders go to there. You have bicep swivel at the elbow. You have a 90-degree elbow. Same for both arms at the elbow. This hand has a wrist swivel here, and it has a wrist tilt, which is nice. I mean, you can get some like, unfortunately it's like detented for no reason, but you can kind of, it's like the first click, so it looks bad, but if you can kind of let it stay in between, it looks really nice for some subtle expressiveness. This claw can rotate, And then the blue and the gray can pinch, and then these can go like that. And you have your more robust looking two-sided claw. The waist has a waist swivel, no ab crunch, obviously it's a mainline Voyager. And then the hips can kick out to about there, a bit limited I have to say, because of the sculpt mostly and the design of the hip. They can go out on a, this is like friction, but then this is like a soft ratchet. So it is indeed a soft ratchet that gets out to 90. The knees go right past 90 degrees. They're at like 95 or 100 degrees. You can also untransform the shin, but it doesn't really count. He's an ankle tilt that gets you a solid range. And the toes technically can articulate, but they're supposed to be clicked in. So you can mistransform those to get some toe articulation, I suppose. Overall, I think pretty solid in the articulation department for a mainline release. It's not missing anything, but it's also not like impressive in any sense when it comes to the posability, I want to say. Like, it's just very standard for a Voyager. 90s, you know how it is, 90s for like elbows and knees, basically, universals, etc. Some parts don't get the full range, some parts do, and you have like that bonus wrist swivel or wrist tilt, which is really nice. Really quickly, before I do full-blown size comparisons, I wanted to show them next to MMC's roll bar and their that's going to be Rotor. These are some only other robots in disguise rep I have, and I assume for a lot of people as well, because the Hasbro line hasn't really given much RID either. Unfortunately, SKY-BYTE is a bit too small for these guys, not just in terms of height, but just in terms of mass. He's supposed to be like this Scourge or like Mega Octane / Dough Railer size, and these guys are small, supposed to be significantly smaller than those guys, so he's definitely way too small for these Masterpiece Commandos, but it's not terrible. I mean, you could say like, oh, like this is like a Predacon, and the Predacons are smaller than Decepticons. But it's not bad. I don't think it's like bad or anything. He's just a bit smaller. For some more size comparisons, here's a Deluxe. I will say that I suppose, and here's a Core. Maybe I'm a bit lacking on size comparisons here. I will say that, like, you know, this like G2 Trooper is a pretty tall Deluxe, I think. And these are obviously masterpieces. I heard a lot about SKY-BYTE being like one of the tallest Voyagers in recent memory. But really, like, I don't know. I feel like we've gotten accustomed to shorter Voyagers because he doesn't feel huge to me, but he's kind of lanky and tall. I will give him that. I'll get him transformed, and we'll take a look at his shark mode. Here he is in his shark mode. Really quickly, you know, I just didn't really want to do a ton of size comparisons, but I wanted to bring those MP guys back, and you can see that he like elongates significantly. He's a pretty tall boy. He's quite long, you know. So he does elongate in shark mode. It is pretty long. Here it is next to a Deluxe, so you can see that it is significantly longer. There we go. So I can fit it in frame. There we go. Sorry about that's kind of scuffed, but anyways, take a look at this shark mode. I do really like it. I like the shaping of the head. I like the shaping of the sculpt. I will say mine has some weird scuffing that's not really visible on camera, but like it's there. I don't know why. It's just like out of the box. It's like at the hinges, just like randomly on the blue plastic. It's strange. It looks pretty good. I like the engineering to allow both of the elbows to work in tandem as his tail. That's really smart. That's where that gap from arm mode is. The gap in robot mode in this arm is for his hand, so that's a pretty smart choice. The undercarriage is pretty clean, obviously. Like, yeah, this is visible, but like it's not a big deal. The jaw does open. I didn't go over his one accessory, but it's this missile launcher thing, which is just a hunk of plastic, and it tabs into his mouth, so he can do that thing from the show where he shot missiles out of his mouth. You can also hinge the head down, so you can shoot missiles like this. These can like flap like this, I guess, you know, or like that, depending on the circumstance you need. I do like how this fills out. That's really cool. It has some detail there too. and you can store this inside the roof of his mouth. It's also where it stores in robot mode. He cannot use this in robot mode. He can hold it in his hand, which looks stupid, but he has a 5mm port here, which I have to assume is for like a stand, because he can't plug the cannon in. Like it does not work because of the shaping of the cannon peg, or like the way the cannon peg is recessed inside the cannon. But you can put it in his mouth up there, and it does tab into some tabs. It's just like impossible to do consistently, and especially not on camera, so I'm just going to put it aside. But it does tab in there, and I do store it in there when I'm not using it. For the most part, it looks pretty good. I have no severe complaints. For final thoughts, I just want to start off and say that like this is a pretty fun figure for $35. It does feel nice and decent and hefty for the size and for the cost. The transformation is a little bit at times, because like you kind of have to like fit panels together and all that, and I know not everyone likes that, and it's not always the most fun thing to do. For the most part, it's pretty easy and I can do it pretty quickly, but it's also not the most like tactically most enjoyable experience from a tactile perspective. The articulation is basic and fine. The appearance is fine. I think a little bit more paint and maybe like that translucent spark crystal for his Predacon symbol could have elevated it aesthetically. I will say there's that one stinging part of this release where like it's the only good car robot / RID-01 update. Like Scourge is not even Scourge, it's Nemesis Laser Prime. Towline is kind of whatever, and Sideburn is like heavily compromised to be something. It's not like a pre-tool. It's a mess. And there's the HasLab, which most people, a lot of people own, but like a lot of us also couldn't justify getting. So it's just a bit of a shame. If you're into the MMC Baldigus line and you want to get this guy, I mean, or MMC Ruination, I don't think it's a terrible pickup for those guys, but it is too small. But if you're not a stickler about scale like me, I think it's fine. I don't know if I'll keep this one. It's just a really fun toy and it's nice and all that. I don't know if I need to keep it, but I think they did a pretty good job with this. Shout out to Mark for this one. You know, you did a pretty good job on it. There's not really much I can actually complain about, and for the $35 price point, I think it's a home run. You know, like obviously, like just because it's a home run, it doesn't mean like it's the greatest thing ever, but it is a home run. He nailed all the design objectives I think he needed to hit on this one. Anyways, that's it for me, guys. I don't know if I'll review more mainline because it's not really my jam, but I just wanted to talk about this toy. I think it's pretty good, and I can recommend it. All right, peace.